Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Kaspa Black Tuesday. And this is a topic that has not been covered anywhere, I'm pretty sure. So it's a pretty interesting topic, and it's kind of just some history of Kaspa in the early stages. So to begin, basically here, if you look at the monetary policy, which the monetary policy is basically how the tokens or the coins are generated and are emissioned into the network. So you could see that in the very beginning, there was a pre-deflationary phase that started at the mainnet start on November 7th, 2021 and has already ended at May 8th, 2022. So they had a pre-deflationary phase, and then now we're in the chromatic phase. The pre-deflationary stage started with a random block reward rate, which was 1 to 1,000 Kaspa per block for the first 2+ weeks, and then was replaced with the constant one at the first hard fork, 500 Kas per second. Since a block rate was also 1 per second, this essentially meant that the reward was 500 Kaspa per block. The stage lasted for 6 months. So in the very beginning of Kaspa, and if you want to look at the emission schedule, you can always go to the Kaspa homepage, and then you just go to About Kaspa, you head to the tokenomics, and then you can click right here, it says Kaspa release schedule. You could see that in the pre-deflationary phase, there was Kaspa per second. It was about 500 for the first 6 months. You could see how much Kaspa was in existence during this time. Now, there's actually a network outage that happened with Kaspa in the very beginning. Mind you, this is a time when there's basically no exchanges, and there's just a good bit of community members who are currently mining Kaspa to secure the network, because if you want a network to survive, you need to have miners and people trying to secure the network. So this comes from an article that Jonathan wrote called Kaspa Black Tuesday. This article came out on November 23rd, 2021, but the day that the network actually crashed was on November 21st. I can confirm this because the announcement on the Discord here, where hashtag, which is also Jonathan on Discord, he says there was severe network sync issues today, and this was on November 21st, 2021, and then he made an article about it. So this post assumes reader context on the crash of Kaspa network in the course of the last 48 hours and provides some additional notes and perspective. So I'm going to kind of just cover this stuff and see what kind of happened here. So, all right, so to simplify logic and debugging, and since the GameNet concept didn't really catch air, I removed the random block reward and replaced the average block reward of 500 with a deterministic block reward of 500. So basically before it was like a random 1 to 1,000 Kas per block, but on average it was always just 500 Kaspa per block. And now Jonathan decided to change it to 500 blocks, and it's set at that, and it does not change anymore. And it's shown, you could see that in the mission schedule there, how it's 500 and it lasted for 6 months. So the reason why 6 months, the first 6 months, he wanted a bunch mined is just simply because the adoption was a lot faster than they anticipated, and also they were in the works to actually hard fork Kaspa to make the monetary policy, because it currently really wasn't set in stone on what they were going to do, but they did want to have a fast emission schedule, way faster than Bitcoin, to accommodate the faster adoption. So they implemented the deflationary policy, but since this network crash happened, it just basically all worked together to do the hard fork, to fix the network crash, and also to fix the deflationary emission schedule and make sure that it's a set at 500 Kaspa per block for 6 months. And then after that, we go into the chromatic phase, which we are already in. And currently right now, we are sitting at the 195 Kaspa per block. And then next month, it's going to decrease to 184 Kaspa per block mined. So you could see that this is a set schedule, and no one can change this unless a hard fork occurs. This is the only way someone could change this emission schedule, and there's really no reason to change it because it's set in stone now, and this is the plan for Kaspa. So I also want to kind of just talk about his announcement here. So it says there were severe network sync issues today, and would upload a updated version in 12 hours, assuming it passes stability test. And this version is a hard fork. So from my research and asking around of what kind of really went down here, Shai was actually able to answer me and basically just said he doesn't remember the details exactly, but some poorly connected miners mined a lot of blocks that all pointed at the same block, which became deeper and deeper. This created many low pointing blocks, which are meaningless consensus wise, but the algorithm still processed them, triggering a weird edge case that bloated RAM usage. And this naturally caused a lot of nodes to crash. And I was looking at the previous messages, and people just kind of kept coming in and saying that their nodes were down for some reason, and the hash rate was just kind of like going up and down pretty crazy. So they had to fix this issue with the hard fork, but the hard fork also introduced a new monetary policy, which now we have this emission schedule today. So this was all back in 2021 of November, and that was just during that first 2-week time period of Kaspa's launch. It crashed in the beginning, and then eventually the hard fork brought in this new emission schedule that we are still sticking to today. And also the fact of the matter is, another reason why the emission rate was so much higher in the beginning too, was because you got to think about it. The people that were working on Kaspa, there's currently really no exchanges for Kaspa, and all of these people are just mining with CPUs, and then later GPUs come out. But the CPU miners are securing the network and making sure Kaspa is existing, and they literally have no idea if it's even going to work. As you could see, the network crashed one time, so they have no idea if it's going to work. So Jonathan wanted to ensure that the early contributors to the network can get most of the share of Kaspa for putting in that work, because Shai also said over here, he says, I'm just being realistic. What incentive do early contributors have to contribute if their work would only benefit big miners? I don't think it is greedy of people to expect a payoff for their work. Of course, the community can try to list Cas tomorrow if they desire. I just think it's very ill-advised. So they were advising not to get exchanges involved right away, because ultimately, this guy says if they list tomorrow with weak network and buggy wallet and synchronization issues, it would be permanently under maintenance. So you didn't want to have Kaspa on an exchange when something like this just happened, like a network issue. So you wanted to make sure that Kaspa was fully prepped and ready to be on exchanges, and that all the little minor bugs with mining would be fixed. And then eventually by December, if you look at the wiki here, you could see that in December, GPU mining does come out, and we can actually confirm that right about here. By late December, the GPU miner is written by the community member, Haunted Cook, and Dem Israel, and then DAG Labs switches to another type of rental hardware there so that they can start mining with GPUs. And then that's when all the YouTubers, some YouTubers that knew about Kaspa through GPU mining started talking about it, and the community just keeps growing. But either way, the growth of the community was just not anticipated. So to fix that, Jonathan made this fast emission schedule so that most of the circulating supply would actually be already to the public, and then there's less in the circulating supply for miners in the future, because as you can see, we already have ASIC mining, and the goal was to actually have ASIC miners come online around 80% of the circulating supply being mined, but instead we have them come online around 70% here, and the hash rate is increasing dramatically. But just a little quick history lesson of Kaspa, just kind of showing you guys what happened back in the day, and I just thought it was a little bit interesting, and I hope if anybody who was around during that time as a miner, if you have more info on what kind of went down, please do so and leave that in the comments so that we can actually read that, because it is really interesting to just see the beginning stages of Kaspa, literally not even knowing if this would be successful and it's going to be where it is today. I'm pretty sure none of these people thought it's going to be where it is today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and leave a like and subscribe if you guys are new around here. And as always, don't be average, be different.